Hello and welcome to this series on Jenkins beginner tutorial. So this is the second session in this series, and today we are going to see how to set up Jenkins on Tomcat. In the first session we have already seen how do you get started with Jenkins, and we also started Jenkins in a standalone server, and today we are going to see how we can start it on Tomcat. So before we begin, a very basic question: why should we deploy Jenkins on Tomcat? Because we can start Jenkins on its own standalone server, and Jenkins comes by default with its own servlet container, which is Jetty and Winstone. And we can also start and deploy Jenkins on other servlet containers like Tomcat. So why exactly do we need it, and what is the difference between running Jenkins standalone, which is its default Jetty servlet container, versus running Jenkins on Tomcat or any other servlet container? So one of the benefits of running it on Tomcat is that you can start all your applications on a single server. So mostly we have most of our web application and other applications installed on a common server like Tomcat. So if we want that even Jenkins should be there, we can install and we can deploy Jenkins on Tomcat. Okay, but this is not this is not a necessary thing. If you want to continue with Jenkins standalone, you can continue with it. But if you want to learn how to we can do it on Tomcat, then we can go ahead with this session. And these are different kind of servlet containers where we can deploy Jenkins. So it's not just Tomcat. We have Glassfish, JBoss, and so many others, right? So we can deploy Jenkins on any of these servlet containers. We are using Tomcat here because Tomcat is one of the most common used servlet containers. Okay, so let us begin. And as a prerequisite, we will need Tomcat 5 or above. Okay, for Jenkins. And other thing is you should be having Java on your system, and Java 7 or above should be available on your system. Okay, and in case you have any issues with checking the version of Java, or if you want to install Java, then you can look at this tutorial I had created some time back on how to install Java on Windows step by step. So you can get help from here. Okay, so let us begin. And what is step one is download Tomcat, and we will be downloading Tomcat zip file, right? So just go to your browser and go to Tomcat. The very first option I'm getting is Apache Tomcat. Let's go here, and in the download section you can see I can download any version of Tomcat here. Let me just select Tomcat 8, and if you go to the binary distributions, you can click on the zip file, so it will start downloading Tomcat. I will cancel this for now as I already have Tomcat on my system. So after you have downloaded, what you have to do is unzip and place Tomcat folder at any location on your system. Okay, so you have to unzip and you can place it at any location. And in my case I have placed it inside tools. So this is the Tomcat folder which I have unzipped and kept it here. And you might be getting a name like Tomcat and with some version appended in the name of the folder. So it is your wish if you want to rename it and change the name to something smaller like I have done only Tomcat, you can do that. Or if you want to keep the entire name as it is, that is also fine. Okay, so I have unzipped and kept it at some location on my system. Okay, so step 3 is we have to copy and place the jenkins.var file inside Tomcat web apps folder. Okay, so we had our uh, Jenkins, I had placed it here. So I will copy it from here and I will go to my Tomcat. web apps, and I will just paste it here. So I have pasted it in my Tomcat web apps folder. Okay, so now step 4 is I have to uh, start Tomcat. So before I start Tomcat, what I have to go do is I have to go to command prompt in case of Windows. Okay, or I have to go to terminal if I am on a Mac. Okay, so as of now I am on a Mac, so I will go to terminal, but if you are on Windows, do not worry, you just have to follow the same steps on the command prompt. Okay, and here what I have to do is I have to go to Tomcat bin directory. Okay, so I will just navigate to where my Tomcat bin is. So it's users, desktop, tools, Tomcat bin. Okay, and then what I have to do is make all files executable. Okay, what does this mean is I'll just tell you. What I have to do is I have to say chmod plus x star dot sh. Okay, so if I look into my Tomcat bin directory, I have a lot of files and there are some sh files as well. All these are executable files. So what I need to do is I have to make all these executable, all these files as executable, right? All the sh files as executable. So I will use this command. Chmod is for changing the permissions, and I will say plus x is for making it executable, and I am saying any file with the extension sh should be made executable. Okay, so now I have made all the files as executable. Okay, now I have to start Tomcat. So we have to start Tomcat server, and the command for that is startup.sh. So if I go to this bin directory, I will find there is a startup.sh. Okay, so I just have to run this, and for shutting down Tomcat I have to run shutdown.sh. Okay, so I will just say startup.sh, and remember, you should be inside the bin folder. If you are outside the bin folder, then you have to start with bin here. Okay, you have to first say bin and then startup.sh, but because I am already inside the bin folder, I will just say startup.sh, and it is saying Tomcat started. Okay, so now we have to verify, right? Verify if Tomcat started. Okay, and to do that we have to go to our browser, and we have to go to localhost, and the default port on which Tomcat starts is 8080. So I will just go to my browser and I'll say localhost and 8080. And yes, if you see this screen with Apache Tomcat, that means your Tomcat is up and running. Okay, and but where is our Jenkins? We had put our Jenkins inside our web apps folder, right? We have Jenkins here, jenkins.war. So what I will do is I will say slash Jenkins, and it is will ask for me for the password. So you remember in the last session we have saved our admin password as well, so I have saved it here. I will just give this password and login, and yes, now I can see my Jenkins, and now my Jenkins is not running as a standalone application, it is running inside Tomcat server. Okay, so we also have to verify if Jenkins is running on Tomcat, and for that we have to go to this same location and Jenkins. Okay, so this is how we can deploy Jenkins on Tomcat. And here's the interesting thing. See, now this is the same Jenkins that I had started earlier standalone, and now it is on Tomcat. So suppose I want to start the standalone Jenkins as well. So what I need to do is, as we looked into the last session, for that we have to go to our Jenkins folder. So wherever we have our Jenkins, it's inside desktop tools Jenkins, and I have to say java hyphen jar jenkins.var. Okay, but Jenkins also starts by default on port 8080, and we already have our Tomcat running on port 8080. Now I cannot start Jenkins standalone on the same port because it is already being used by Tomcat. So in that case, what I will do is I will say hyphen hyphen http port, and now I can give any other port as well. Let me give 9090, and I will start my Jenkins standalone. Okay, so here is to start Jenkins standalone on a different port than 8080, which is the default port. You have to say java hyphen jar jenkins.var and hyphen hyphen. So there is no space between these two hyphens. I'm just putting it here because it will otherwise make it a single string. HTTP port and whatever the port number you want. Okay, so now let us see. If I go to my local host 9191 port, okay, it's 9090. So I can see it is now here. So the same Jenkins is running here as well. The credentials, let me copy it again. See, I have used the same credentials, and now see, Jenkins is running on Tomcat on port 8080, and the same Jenkins is running on standalone 9090 port. So one more thing that we can do to verify that it's the same Jenkins is, let me create a test job here and give it as test job 1. Okay, now see, let me just save this. This test job 1 I have created on the standalone Jenkins on port 9090, and here on port 8080 on the Tomcat I again create some test job 2, and just to verify I'll save it first. Okay, and now see, test job 2 is created on Tomcat and test job 1 is created on the standalone Jenkins serverlet. Okay, let me restart both the servers. So I am pressing Ctrl C and starting Jenkins on 9090 standalone again, and I'm also shutting down Tomcat. So again, to shut down Tomcat, you have to go to bin, and the same this command will be shutdown.sh. Okay, so I'm shutting down Tomcat and I will start it again. Okay, now let us go and uh, refresh both the browsers 9090 as well as the Tomcat 8080. Okay, let me go to Jenkins. Okay, now see, on Tomcat we had created test job 2 and test job 1 was created on the Jenkins standalone server, but now we are getting both the jobs here. Okay, and again if I go here, again I can see both the jobs. Okay, so that means we are now able to use our Jenkins as standalone as well as inside Tomcat. Okay, so this was all about how to set up Jenkins on Tomcat. Hope you like it. Thank you.